Hello and welcome. You're watching CNN News 18 with me, Hem Kaur and here's a look at what we're tracking for you this morning. Osman Hadi's Inqilab Manch warns of mass uprising to oust Yunus government over radical leader's murder. Hindu youth Dipu Chandradas's lynching sparks outrage. Family alleges no help from the Bangladesh police, seeks return to India. Thackerays brothers to reunite after 20 years. Announcement likely today. Question looms over Congress accepting Raj's ideology. In an exclusive interview to CNN News 18, Himanta Biswa Sarma accuses Congress of appeasement, claims proof against Mrs. Gogoi working with Pakistan, promises mega political expose. Rahul Gandhi targets the Modi government in Berlin, accuses the BJP of undermining constitution and fostering divisions. Kerala braces for SIR impact as voter deletions raise alarm. Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan says left cadres door-to-door verification. As rift with the DMK over seat sharing widens, Congress mulls going solo in Tamil Nadu, hints at an alliance with Vijay. All right, starting with the breaking updates that we're getting right now in an explosive statement that is set to shake the political landscape. Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma has accused the Congress party of indulging in political appeasement at the cost of national interest. Speaking exclusively to CNN News 18, Sarma claimed to have solid evidence against Mrs. Gogoi, alleging that she is working in coordination with Pakistan. A charge that, if substantiated, could have serious political and national security implications. Not just that, the Chief Minister claims to have ample evidence against Mrs. Gogoi. Listen to this.
That is a big issue, because that issue we are going to reveal. She works for the state of Pakistan. And I have evidence with me. So
you're going to bring out evidence?
Yeah. Just I was waiting for. I have clear evidences, and I am saying with whole lot of responsibility as a Chief Minister of Assam, I have clear evidences that she is a part of cartel who helps Pakistan. So उसमें how किसी का आप माँ भी हो सकता है, किसी का आप बेटी भी हो सकता है, बट आप जब पाकिस्तानी हो जाते हैं तो आपसे मेरा कैसे संबंध हो सकता है? So I want, after I reveal everything, that gentleman should disown his wife.
Well, we'll wait for the evidence.
Yes.
All right, for more on this, we have Anand Narasimhan joining us live this morning. Thank you so much for joining me, Anand. Good morning. Of course, tall claims that he's alleging that Mrs. Gogoi is working with Pakistan. Of course, he said that he'll come out with the evidence for the same. What's your assessment of what's happening?
Well, morning, Hem, and morning to our viewers. The thing is that there are two aspects that Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma spoke to News 18 last evening at Rising Northeast platform. What he very clearly said is that he blamed the Congress for appeasement, and he said that the current situation that Assam is dealing with this entire influx and people of Bangladeshi origin residing in Assam and putting pressure on the local indigenous population is a result of the Congress's appeasement policy. He also brought the Madurai Deepam issue, where he said that when the court orders are sidelined and a judge is impeached because of the order passed, and Mr. Gogoi is one of the signatories among the 109 MPs who moved for the judge's impeachment. that just smacked of appeasement, reason appeasement. Then, when pushed on Mrs. Gogoi, he said that he has concrete evidence and he will be tabling that very, very soon. He was just waiting for a few more papers internationally that would absolutely, irrefutably establish the claims that he is making and his government is making. And he said that it is nothing personal. It is when somebody acts against the interest of the country, despite being a citizen of Bharat, then that person should be brought to account. And he said that even if it was somebody from his own family or he himself tomorrow working with entities inimical to Bharat, then he should be he is not above reproachment. And that anybody should be pulled up for it, irrespective of whether it is somebody's son, wife, or they themselves. And he said that he has concrete evidence against Mrs. Gogoi, and he is open to any form of legal suit or defamation, etc. When he was speaking further on with our Assam counterpart and Parag Muni there. So he spoke at length on it, and he said that in the coming days, he is going to be presenting hard, irrefutable, concrete evidence of the claims that he is making. And he says that yes, even today, Mrs. Gogoi continues to be an agent of Pakistan. That's his claim. That is his claim.
All right, Anand, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on that. We also are now being joined by Payal Mehta. Payal, thank you so much for joining us. Good morning. Now, of course, this is a huge allegation that has come forth. Now, Payal, what's your assessment of where this was raised and how he's established this link between Mrs. Gogoi and the Pakistan link that he's talking about here?
Well, as far as Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma is concerned, one thing one must know that he never minces his words and he speaks with absolute clarity. And this war of words between Gaurav Gogoi and him has been going on for the last 6 months or so. So much so that it was understood at one point in time that Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma would hand over the probe to NIA, given the fact that he's very confident that there is ample proof against Mr. Gogoi and his wife for actually having links with Pakistan. The fact remains that these have to be certified, and that's something which Himanta Biswa Sarma is very, very confident about, and that's the reason when he spoke to our colleagues in Assam, he's gone ahead and said that he will be ordering a probe as far as that is really concerned. He's going to be submitting the documents that are really there as well. But, there's no doubt of mincing any words as far as Himanta Biswa Sarma is concerned. Remember, Himanta Biswa Sarma's mentor was the late Tarun Gogoi, who happens to be Gaurav Gogoi's father. And, of course, Himanta knows the family inside out as well. But what links did Gaurav Gogoi had with Pakistan, that is something which Himanta Biswa Sarma continues to question. Because given the fact that his wife had certain ties with people in Pakistan, and why did Mr. Gogoi go to Pakistan a number of times without, without informing the government or probably using his diplomatic passport? That is something which Mr. Biswa Sarma continues to raise. Remember, these are high political tensions as we build up to the big elections in Assam next year.
Right, Payal, just for more clarity there, of course, as you mentioned, he does say that he has hard evidence for this also. We're going to have to wait for that. But if I could just talk to you about the perceived psychological, political and national security implications of just this claim alone, what's your assessment of that?
Well, there's no doubt whatsoever that the Congress party is completely backing on the fortunes of their party in Assam at the back of Gaurav Gogoi. And that is something Himanta Biswa Sarma really understands. One of the reasons that Himanta Biswa Sarma left from the Congress party was Gaurav Gogoi's patronage that he got from his father, the late Tarun Gogoi, had absolute patronage for his son and ignored a leader like Himanta Biswa Sarma. Having said that, this is political election season, and you will understand that charges and counter charges are definitely made. On one front, where Gaurav Gogoi is continued to brazen it out. On the other front, Himanta Biswa Sarma accuses Gaurav Gogoi of appeasing, accuses Congress party of appeasing and accusing, and also saying that Congress ka haath Pakistan ke saath is a reality in his home state, which is in Assam as well. We'll have to just wait and see when the probe gets ordered, because I was given to understand that the probe would be ordered sometime very, very soon. And what is the outcome of that probe, and how does it yield as far as the results of Assam are concerned? That also remains to be seen.
All right, now Payal, of course, he's talking about the fact that he will present evidence also. So in the days to come, what are we likely to see?
He's likely to order a probe. To begin with, he can probably order a probe at the state level. But enough has been indicated by Mr. Biswa Sharma in the past that this is a classic case for NIA to look into it because this concerns national security. We'll have to just wait and see what nature of the probe Mr. Himanta Biswa Sharma really wants to order, because we're looking at the month of December now. In the month of April or something, when the elections take place, is it too little right now? That remains to be seen. But Mr. Biswa Sharma's intentions are very clear that he will expose Gaurav Gogoi and his family.
All right, Pal, thank you so much for joining us for more on this. Of course, once again for our viewers, let's just listen into exactly what Himanta Biswa Sarma had to say.
बहुत बढ़िया। आपने कहा कि आपका काम कुछ लोगों को नाराज करना है, उसमें गौरव गोगोई भी शामिल हैं?
देखिए, व्यक्ति बहुत बड़ा इशू नहीं है। हर व्यक्ति अपना तकदीर लेके आते हैं। मेरा तकदीर नहीं था कि मैं कोई सीएम का बेटा हूं, लेकिन मेरा बेटा का तकदीर है कि वो सीएम का बेटा होके जन्म होगा।
पर बहुत अच्छा कर रहा है स्पोर्ट्स में।
अलग बात है, तकदीर अपना अपना लेके आते हैं। बट माई इशू इज विद द कांग्रेस, माई इशू विद द पार्टी, माई इशू विद द अपीजमेंट पॉलिटिक्स, माई इशू विद द डेवलपमेंट इश्यूज। तो इशू में अगर कोई मेरा रास्ता में नहीं है, उसको तो मैं अच्छा नहीं पा पाऊंगा। लेकिन आप कांग्रेस में है, लेकिन आप मेरा साथ है, मैं आपके लिए ठीक हूं। बहुत सारा कांग्रेस का लोग है, कांग्रेस में है लेकिन मेरा साथ है, तो आई एम फाइन विद देम, कोई इशू नहीं है। लेकिन मुद्दा में जब एक होते हैं तब आप ठीक है, मुद्दा में जब एक नहीं है तब आप एक नहीं हो सकता है। जैसे तमिलनाडु का जास का मसला हो, एक हिंदू स्थान में दीप प्रज्वलित करने के लिए जाज ने अनुमति दिया, और हमारे असम का हिंदू नेता जाके वो जाज का खिलाफ इंपीचमेंट डालेगा। हाउ यू कैन सपोर्ट हिम? अगर कोई असम का नेता वक्फ बिल को अपोज करेगा, देन हाउ यू कैन सपोर्ट हिम? अगर कोई असम का नेता बांग्लादेश का खिलाफ, बांग्लादेशी घुसपैठियों का खिलाफ नहीं बोलेगा, हाउ यू विल सपोर्ट हिम? सो दीज आर इरिकॉन्सिलेबल डिफरेंसेस है, व्यक्ति का ऊपर कुछ नहीं है।
पर आप व्यक्ति की धर्मपत्नी के ऊपर कुछ तो है।
नहीं, that is a big issue, because that issue we are going to reveal. She works for the state of Pakistan, and I have evidence with me. So
you're going to bring out evidence?
Just I was waiting for. I have clear evidences, and I am saying with whole lot of responsibility. As a chief minister of Assam, I have clear evidences that she is a part of cartel who helps Pakistan. So उसमें how किसी का आप मां भी हो सकता है, किसी का आप बेटी भी हो सकता है, बट आप जब पाकिस्तानी हो जाते हैं तो आपसे मेरा कैसे संबंध हो सकता है? That apply to my son also. That apply to my mother also. If my son become close to Pakistani, I have to officially say that he is not my son. So that's the responsibility we carry. अगर मैं भी गलती से ऐसा कोई देश विरोधी में पड़ जाता हूं, मेरा मां भी मुझे बोलना चाहिए कि वो मेरा बेटा नहीं है।
राष्ट्र सर्वोपरि।
हाँ,
country comes first.
So I want, after I reveal everything, that gentleman should disown his wife.
Well, we'll wait for the evidence.
Yes.
All right, let's shift our focus now. After violent protests in Bangladesh last week over the assassination of Inqilab Manch founder Usman Hadi, the party has reportedly threatened to overthrow the interim government if it fails to act in Hadi's murder case. While the Islamist outfit has given a 24-hour ultimatum to Yunus, the Home Advisor himself has admitted that the interim government is not aware of the killer's whereabouts. Meanwhile, another Islamist National Citizen Party, Matlab Sikadar, was shot at yesterday and is said to be in critical condition.
मैं समझता हूं कि आज जिस तरह के जो बांग्लादेश के हालात इस समय हम देखने को मिल रहा है और जिस तरह से अभी इंसानियत का कत्ल हुआ, अभी जिस तरह से उस बच्चे को उसकी हत्या की गई और उस हत्या करने के बाद उसको नंगा करके पेड़ से लटकाया गया और जिस तरह से उस लाश की नुमाइश की गई, बहुत दुख की बात है। मैं पूछना चाहता हूं बांग्लादेश की आवाम से, क्या ये एहसान का बदला आज आप भारत को ये दे रहे हैं?
All right, for more on this, we have with us Shami Al-Mehdi for more on this. Shami, we've been discussing what's happening in Bangladesh now. Violent protests have continued. Inqilab Manch founder Usman Hadi's death, that remains a huge concern as well. And then we have another update that Matlab Sikadar was also shot at and is said to be in critical condition. If you could just give us a lowdown of all that's transpired so far and where things stand right now.
Well, first of all, the shooting incident of Muttalib Sikdar, people and the media, they all thought that it was connected with some kinds of political incidents. But later on, it was revealed by the local police that the shooting incident of Muttalib Sikdar isn't connected or relevant with any kinds of political activities. It was some kinds of internal dispute. They told the reputed media. And Muttalib Sikdar is right now out of danger because the bullet couldn't touch his head. He was heavily injured, but it only touched his left ear. That I saw in the television. And the fact is, Inqilab Manch yesterday, in their press conference, they said some specific things regarding the murder incident and what they want from the government. And later on, at local 3 o'clock time, whenever they mobilized in the Shahid Minar area, then they were very much vocal, and they said that without the proper justice of Hadi's murder, there will be no election. So it's like right now they are not taking any kinds of responsibilities for the stability of the country, or they don't even care about the government. What they said in their speeches, and they're only standing right now is the justice for the Hadi killing, and all kinds of importance and everything should be given on Hadi's murder. But they didn't mention any on any other issues which are also very much concerning matter for us, like Dipu Chandra Das murder and so many other things which are happening around the country. And about Dipu Chandra Das murder, I just checked the local news, which is a very planned. It was a very planned murder, and actually the planning was going on inside the factory because Dipu Chandra Das had some kinds of clash with the owner, and he was deprived from promotions and many other things for a very long time. So
all right,
they actually planned. That is the situation. Right?
All right, Shami, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. For more on this, we also have with us Siddhant Mishra. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us. What are we really looking at, Siddhant? Things just seem to be spiraling out of control by the day.
Well, that's right. So Bangladesh High Commission in New Delhi has suspended visa services. In fact, we could also be expecting protest outside the Bangladesh High Commission today to demand justice for Hindu garment worker Dipu Chandra Das. In fact, yesterday, Chief Advisor Mohammad Yunus spoke to Indian ambassador and President Trump's special envoy for South Asia, Ambassador Sergey Gore. And in fact, Chief Advisor briefed Ambassador Gore on the entire situation. In fact, both of them discussed trade, tariff, and in fact, the post from Chief Advisor also says that how Chief Advisor did mention that a leader sitting outside Bangladesh is spending millions of dollars to create instability in Bangladesh. So, in a way, Chief Advisor lodged complaint with the United States about Sheikh Hasina, that how Sheikh Hasina and her party Awami League is interfering in the domestic politics of Bangladesh. Point number one. The other significant development is that now there are 3 people on record perhaps saying that there is no link of India to the killing of Usman Hadi. Yesterday, a senior BNP leader said that it is Jamaat Islami leaders who were in touch with Usman Hadi's killer. In fact, they got the killer out on bail. A senior police officer said that they don't have any evidence to prove that Usman Hadi's killer escaped to India. And now we have a statement coming from the Home Advisor of Bangladesh, where he is also making this point very clear that the police and the law enforcement authorities have no information about the killers of Usman Hadi. So a simple question which goes out to the Yunus government is that if they had no evidence, then why did they sought India's assistance in the first go? Why did they brought India into the picture, which perhaps led to violence and arson in Bangladesh?
All right. Well, Siddhant, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on this. Of course, these are some pertinent questions that remain unanswered at this point, and we are going to be tracking all the developments on this front also. But with that, we're going to slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side on CNN News 18. All right, we have more information coming in, pardon me. Of course, now days after the barbaric killing of the Hindu man Dipu Chandradas, who was lynched to death in Bangladesh, his kin have now spoken exclusively to CNN News 18, seeking justice for his murder. Meanwhile, a new video has emerged showing Dipu Chandradas in police custody shortly before he was lynched, raising serious questions about the sequence of events. As outrage grows, Hindu religious organizations and minority groups across Bangladesh have staged protests condemning the mob lynching of the Hindu youth, and they are demanding accountability. What really happened here? Earlier, MEA had strongly condemned the barbaric killing of Dipu Chandradas and had urged the Bangladesh government to ensure that the perpetrators are brought to justice immediately.
আপনি কখন জানতে পারলেন কি আপনার ভাইয়ের সাথে এরকম হয়েছে?
আমার ব্যাগ জানতে পারছি যে এটা হয়েছে, মনে করো এটা হয়েছে 7টার দিকে। আমার ভাইয়ের বন্ধু আসছিল, চাকরি করতে পারে, চাকরি করে পরে মনে করো 7টার দিকে ফোন দিয়ে গেলো, জায়গায় ফোন দিয়ে গেছে, দাদা কি আপনি দিবু তো আমার মনে কি বলছে, তো আপনারা আসতেন, আপনি আমরা এলাকাতে কয়েকটা নেতা নিয়ে, ভালো ভালো নেতা নিয়ে নিয়ে যান, আমরা থানায় যান, থানায় গিয়ে এই করেন না, তাহলে কোনো থানার জন্য পড়া না আনতে। তার মধ্যে আতঙ্ক হয়ে গেছে যে আমার বাইরে কি করছে, আর বাইরে কি করলো, বাইরে এরকম যাচ্ছিল না, বাইরে কিন্তু বাইরে কিছু করে না, বাইরে ধর্ম খুব ধর্ম খুব ভালোবাসছে, যে কোনো ধর্ম। আচ্ছা, তারপর আমরা গেলাম, যাওয়ার পর 10 মিনিট পরে ঘুমতে গেছি, রাজা আছি আপনার ছেলে যান না।
আপনাদের কি কারোর সাথে আপনার কি কারোর সাথে কোনো দুশ্মনী ছিল? কেন এটাই বক্তব্য চলছে কি উনি প্রফেটের খিলাফ কিছু বলেছেন, এই জন্য ওকে মারা হয়েছে, এরকম কোনো ঝগড়া ছিল আপনাদের? হ্যাঁ বলুন অবুদা, বলুন।
সব ঠিক আছে, সব বিষয়ে মাইন্ডে বলতে পারতাম।
আপনারা পুলিশ আপনারা পুলিশ কমপ্লেন করেছেন, কিন্তু এখন অবধি পুলিশ কিছু করেছে?
মনে করেন 10 জনের পরে বিচারে 2 জন, 12 জনের ধরা হয়েছে, 12 জনের রিমান্ডে নেওয়া হয়েছে, রিমান্ডে জিজ্ঞাসাবাদ চলতেছে। চলার পর দেশের অজ্ঞাতনামা যারা দিছিল আর 500 জন অজ্ঞাতনামা হামলা যে ইন্ডিয়ার আবার করা সিসি ক্যামেরা ফুটেজ দেখে দেখে ধরা হয়।
কি আপনি কি বাংলাদেশ ছাড়তে চান, কি আপনি ভারতবর্ষতে আসতে চান? আপনার ভয় লাগে না?
যদি কি করবো আমরা আসলে যদি আমরা তো মধ্যবিত্ত আমরা চাইতাম বা আমরা যদি এরকম যদি সামর্থ্য থাকতো যে আমরা কি আর বাংলাদেশে থাকতাম আমার দায়ের যে বড় কাহিনী একশো কাহিনী আর হয়েছে কিন্তু কত এরকম কাহিনী একেবারে কম কিন্তু দিব আমার বাইরের দেয় একেবারে সবচেয়ে বেশি আমরা যদি এরকম সামর্থ্য থাকতো বাংলাদেশে থাকতাম চলে থাকতাম।
All right, for more on this, we have Pallavi Ghosh live with us. Pallavi, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, you've spoken to the victim's family. There are serious questions which are being raised about the sequence of events because there is a video apparently that shows Dipu Das in police custody right before he was lynched. We're also given to understand from various accounts that the police really did not do anything, and they've also come out and said that the blasphemy allegations were, in fact, they weren't able to substantiate those allegations. So what's your assessment of what we're seeing here?
See, the fact is that he was in this police custody and we can see those pictures, and you know what both his father had told me earlier and his brother also told me yesterday, that they did recount to the police that he had not used any derogatory word against the prophet and he was just caught in that fire and he had asked for help and the police did not help him. That is one grave charge which is coming in and from his family. But more than that, the family is also saying that despite the fact that we have filed a complaint, we've requested the police repeatedly for justice, for nabbing the killers. His brother also told me this yesterday, that the police has not even moved an inch. They didn't even bother to ask the people around our colony. There are a large number of people belonging to the Muslim community as well. Many of them were a part of that crowd, but none of them have been questioned. So there is no hope, there is no faith in them, because I think the point that he was trying to make was that this entire violence and targeting of Hindus has now in a sense become institutionalized. And institutionalized in the sense that even the police or the army or all of them have been co-opted and no one is even bothering to address the concerns or even provide justice as far as the Hindu minorities are concerned.
All right. Well, Pallavi, of course, it's terrifying news, really, what we're seeing play out in Bangladesh. And there appears to be no relief in sight to all the violence and volatility that we're seeing. We're, of course, going to continue to keep a close track on this one. Also, we're going to slip into a very short break, but don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side on CNN News 18.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
To bring those responsible for Dipu Das' killing to justice. Also, a new video has now emerged showing Dipu in police custody right before he was lynched. Meanwhile, Hindu religious organizations and minority groups in Bangladesh staged protests against the mob lynching of a Hindu youth. Let's take a look.
আপনি কখন জানতে পারলেন কি আপনার ভাইয়ের সাথে এরম হয়েছে?
আমার ব্যাগ জানতে পারছি এটা হয়েছে মনে করো এটা হয়েছে 7 তারিখে আমার ভাইয়ের বন্ধু আসছিল সিম্পাথি করে পরে মনে করো 7 তারিখে খেলতে গেল জায়গায় খেলতে গেছে দাদা কি আপনি দিবু তো আমার মনে কত কি বলছে তো আপনারা আসছেন আপনি আমরা লাগাতে করা কয়েকটা নেতা নিয়ে ভালো ভালো নেতা নিয়ে নিয়ে যান আমরা থানায় গিয়ে এই করেন তাহলে কোনো থানার জন্য পড়া নিয়ে আনতে হবে তার মধ্যে আতঙ্ক হয়ে গেছে যে আমার বাইরে কি করছে আর বাইরে কি করলো বাইরে এরকম যাচ্ছিল না বাইরে কিন্তু বাইরে কিছু করে না বাইরে ধর্ম খুব ধর্ম খুব ভালোবাসছে যে কোনো ধর্ম। আচ্ছা তারপর আমরা গেলাম যাওয়ার পর 10 মিনিট পরে ঘুরতে গেছি রাজা আছি আপনি ছেলে যান না।
আপনাদের কি কারোর সাথে আপনার কি কারোর সাথে কোনো দুশ্মনী ছিল? কেন এটাই বক্তব্য চলছে কি উনি প্রফেটের খিলাফ কিছু বলেছেন এই জন্য ওকে মারা হয়েছে, এরকম কোনো ঝগড়া ছিল আপনাদের? হ্যাঁ বলুন অবুদা বলুন।
দিদি সব ঠিক আছে দিদি আপনি যা যখনটা করছেন যদি আমরা সব বিষয়ে মাইন্ডে বলতে পারতাম।
আপনারা পুলিশ আপনারা পুলিশ কমপ্লেন করেছেন, কিন্তু এখন অবধি পুলিশ কিছু করেছে?
যে ছিল আগে যে ছিল মনে করেন 10 জনের পরে বিচারে 2 জন, সে 12 জনের ধরা হয়েছে, 12 জনের রিমান্ডে নেওয়া হয়েছে, রিমান্ডের জিজ্ঞাসাবাদ চলতেছে। চলার পর দেশের অজ্ঞাতনামা যারা দিচ্ছিল আর 500 জনের অজ্ঞাতনামা হামলা যে ইন্ডিয়ারে আবার করা হয়, সিসি ক্যামেরা ফুটেজ দেখে দেখে ধরা হয়।
কি আপনি কি বাংলাদেশ ছাড়তে চান, কি আপনি ভারতবর্ষতে আসতে চান? আপনার ভয় লাগে না?
কি করবো আমরা আসলে যদি আমরা তো মধ্যবিত্ত আমরা চাইতাম বা আমার যদি এরকম যদি সামর্থ্য থাকতো যে আমরা কি আর বাংলাদেশে থাকতাম, আমার ব্যাংক ওরা কাহিনী একশো কাহিনী আরো হয়েছে, কিন্তু এরকম কাহিনী একেবারে কম কিন্তু দিব আমার বাইরের দেয় একেবারে সবচেয়ে বেশি হয়ে গেছে। আমরা যদি এরকম সামর্থ্য থাকে থাকতাম চলে থাকতাম।
The VHP has used the incidents in Bangladesh with alarmity and anguish. It has been alleged that Dipu was guilty of blasphemy, and the statement ascribed to him is that he said that all religions lead to the same path. They are all equal and they are all respectable. This statement was considered as blasphemous by a section of the Muslim community. He was dragged, he was lynched, he was burnt alive. Now, this statement is a challenge to the secular values of the world. The very basis of secularism is that all religions are equal and they all command respect as far as the state is concerned. Second, went to the janaza of Hadi and said that Hadi lives in our hearts. We will fulfill his dream, and the generations of Bangladeshis will fight for it. The Hadi, sometime before he was shot, had called about Vrahad Bangladesh, the greater Bangladesh, which includes the boundaries of the northeast of Bengal and parts of Bihar. If this is what Muhammad Yunus was referring to, if this is what he said that the generations would fight, then it is a direct challenge to the India's sovereignty and the territorial integrity. The VHP will hold dharnas and demonstrations in all districts of the country in the next 2 days. The VHP units around the globe would organize Hindus and the people and the office bearers of the civil society to impress their governments to persuade Bangladesh to a saner path. The elections there being near, such tactics are being employed.
All right, welcome back to CNN News 18. Thank you so much for staying on with us. What's lined up for you now? Rattled by Operation Sindoor, Pakistan is now rushing to build an iron dome along the line of control. Intelligence sources have told CNN News 18 that Pakistan is urgently strengthening its defences along the line of control in response to India's increasing drone and loitering munition capabilities. Let me just break this down further for you. Let's talk about the perceived impact of India's dominance in this region as well. Indian dominance in drone warfare clearly has unsettled Pakistan in light of what we see happen in Operation Sindoor. Pakistan is now scrambling, we're given to understand, to install anti-drone systems. The anti-drone system deployments has been spotted along the LoC. These are still early reports. Deployments near Ralakot, Kotli, Bhimber. Pakistan has approached China. Also, we're given to understand Turkey for these drones. Pakistan is finalizing the deal for 300 Fatah 1 rockets. Clearly spooked, Pakistan is fast-tracking now its weapons purchases given India's munitions, loitering munitions and drone capabilities. Pakistan is also now overhauling aging armored fleet, we're given to understand. So this is the latest that we are getting right now. For more on this, we have Akash Sharma live with us. Also joining us on the broadcast, Lieutenant General DP Pandey. Thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast right now. Let's just talk about what we're seeing play out here. We're given to understand, Akash, that Pakistan is now rushing to build an iron dome of sorts, clearly rattled by India's growing capabilities and loitering munitions capabilities. If you could just tell our viewers what's happening.
Right. So you see, Pakistan is in fear and we know it for a fact. And now we are learning that along LoC at 8 different places, Pakistan has in fact deployed counter drone systems, counter UAV technology, and in fact the systems that can, jam and spoof the drones, coming. At this point in time, we know it for a fact that Pakistan has been claiming their victory despite the fact that, they have received in fact, injuries, deaths to their soldiers, and in fact, their bunkers at the LoC and also the bases have been destroyed. But despite that, Pakistan has been going bonkers, saying that they have won Operation Sindoor, they have won the war against India, and that's the reason why they are constantly in fact in touch with the Chinese and people from Turkey, because they want to, in fact, induct more and more weapons amid the fear that India can go for another strike. And we are learning about these systems that have been deployed, in fact, at 8 different places. As I mentioned earlier, 35 systems is what intelligence sources are telling us that have been, in fact, deployed along the LoC. Remember, during Operation Sindoor, loitering munitions were used by Indian Army to destroy, in fact, the targets, that were pre-decided. And after that, and in fact, at this point in time, given these scenarios, throughout the world, in the, conflicts that are ongoing or the wars that are ongoing, we know that how drones are being used, by the forces across the globe. And that's the reason why now Pakistan is trying to up its game in the counter UAV, counter drone technology. And we have been given to understand by the intel sources that they have deployed several sorts of systems along the line of control.
All right, Lieutenant General DP Pandey, thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast this morning, sir. Let me just come to you. How do you assess this? And of course, we're seeing Pakistan, it's now scrambling to up its arsenal as well, is in contact with Turkey and China. We're given to understand. What's your assessment, sir?
Yeah, so firstly, I'll just beg to a little differ that while they are going bonkers about speaking about their success in Operation Sindoor, the bottom line is I think they have also acknowledged quite clearly it is our own people who are trying to give him some success and all in terms of politics. But frankly, their body language, the proof which has been given by the Pakistani establishment quite overtly and the international media, the kind of proof they have given, is the efficacy of our missile system, the drone system which we have used during Operation Sindoor has really exposed the chinks in the armor of Pakistan defenses, right? They have used quite liberally the Chinese. You are well aware that about 80-85% of equipment is of Chinese origin. And during this Operation Sindoor, Turkey came in a big way to assist them in the drone warfare. But yet everything was exposed, and in about 25 minutes on 10th and even before that, Pakistani air defenses, Pakistani establishments, military installations, air bases were totally sorted out actually by our forces. But yet, let's acknowledge one fact that Pakistan Army is a professional army, and they also are understanding what is happening in the international environment. If you see Ukraine-Russia war, you've seen Armenia, Azerbaijan, drones have played a very important role. And while Indian Army, Indian Air Force, Navy have been quite progressively engaged in procuring and employing drones in our system, which we were able to prove during Operation Sindoor, we have also continued to upgrade our systems after Operation Sindoor in a major manner. If you look at our Ashni platoons, which have been now raised in infantry battalions, is quite an acknowledgement to the future or the contemporary war fighting environment. And the future war fighting environment, and drones are going to be playing a very important role. And therefore, if Pakistan Army has to go out, they are rattled, sure shot. They need to carry out counter-drone systems for carrying out certain degree of air defense. But I can only assure through your channel to the viewers, the Indian viewers, that Indian armed forces are pretty professional. They would have known by now what all things they are procuring and how to breach. They continue to breach their air defense wall. Howsoever they want to create, we will have our capacities, and our indigenous capacities are pretty robust and good as they're expanding. Now, regarding Turkey and China trying to empower, or Pakistan going to this thing, I'm told that Turkey is planning. In fact, about a few days back, one of the ministers had come and announced opening of a factory of drone manufacturing factory. Turkey and China both are defense industrial complexes, have major complexes. So those corporations will like to continue to use their money and expand their businesses wherever possible. In case of Pakistan, the only challenge comes that they don't have deep pockets to be able to support. So eventually the long thing is that the more credit they take, the more resistance they take in terms of buying defense instead of rather forcing, looking at their economy, looking at their population, the poverty and everything, they are going to be held hostage to countries like Turkey and China in the future. So the only thing I can say to wind up is that come what may, Operation 2.0, when it is rolled out, all these things will be breached by Indian Armed Forces, I'm quite sure. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your insights on this. Akash, let me just come to you. Of course, as Sir just mentioned here, we are seeing how warfare has evolved as well, and UAVs and drones play a very important role here. That being said, we're given to understand that now Pakistan is scrambling to create an Iron Dome of sorts. That being said, when we talk about the role of Turkey and China in this, how do you assess the impact of that?
As far as China is concerned, as General Pandey was highlighting, that both the countries have been in touch with Pakistan for quite some time now. And in fact, during Operation Sindoor, as he rightly pointed out, while Pakistan was exposed, the fact is that they have, 70 to 80% of their hardware from China. And they continue to do so because they don't have capabilities. They don't have indigenous capabilities like India. And in fact, India at this point in time has been focusing on indigenization also because of the fact that there has been a mission of the current government, and since 2014 we have been seeing that how the approach has been on, in fact the focus has been on Atmanirbharta. Having said that, as far as UAVs and drones are concerned, so Ashni platoons were in fact announced on the occasion of Vijay Divas last year, and in fact these platoons have been raised, and today Indian Army, in fact every unit is equipped with a variety of drones. They have been using these drones. In fact, in the exercises, recent exercises and the war games, we have been seeing that how Indian Army has been practicing, and not just Indian Army, but also Indian Force and other services are practicing. BSF today has got a variety of drones, and the other forces have got variety of drones. So drone is in fact has become a part of the conventional warfare now. We used to say that this is modern warfare, but drones have become a part of the modern day warfare, and that's the reason why focus has been on these UAVs and modern days technologies. And in fact, we are learning that very soon Indian Army is going to induct more than 800 kamikaze drones. On 26th of December, we are expecting a Defense Acquisition Council meeting. And in that particular meeting, some sort of approvals can be given. So right now,
right. Now, Lieutenant Pandey, let me just come back to you on that. That being said, how do you assess India's counter-terrorism strategy, and how do you think it needs to evolve given the developments that we're seeing?
You're looking at counter-terrorism, or you're looking at conventional operations?
So counter-terrorism operations as well as right.
Roger. So even in counter-terrorism, if you look at the armed forces only, last about a few years, we have employed drones for carrying out scans and searches, monitoring of operations, looking at the terrorists with their routes. We have continued to invest heavily into tethered drones and other type of drones. In fact, unknown to the world, we have used miniaturized drones to enter the rooms to carry out reconnaissance at where the terrorist is actually hiding, and thereafter carrying out the blasting action in case we have to carry out a room intervention system and all. So it allows Indian armed forces to reduce casualties, find exact location, what kind of equipment here the terrorists are carrying inside. In fact, for that matter, if you look at even CRPF and all our paramilitary forces, they have used drones quite effectively in LWE as well. And coming on to conventional system, I just will repeat again that drones are an important enabling systems which will allow us for ISR. We carry out intelligence gathering, surveillance, carry out constant reconnaissance, and thereafter use combat drones to destroy the targets when we require. So ranges allow us to reach very, very deep. In case of Pakistan, virtually they don't have any strategic depth the way we got our drones. And the second is the kamikaze drones are extremely efficient. We use them in Operation Sindoor.
All right.
And we will continue. I think we got enough grid capacities of actually scaling up our building of drone systems.
All right, General Pandey and Akash, thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast with your insights and your perspective on this. All right, let's shift our focus now. The Thackerays cousins appear set to join hands for the upcoming municipal corporation polls with an alliance announcement likely today. Raj Thackeray's Maharashtra, Navnirman Sena and Uddhav Thackeray's led Shiv Sena UBT have been engaged in hectic last-minute parleys to firm up a tie-up for the next month's high-stakes civic elections in Mumbai. While leaders from both sides have maintained that discussions are over, no formal announcements have been made yet. Sources have told us that negotiations have hit a hurdle over seat sharing in pockets where both parties have a strong base, including Dadar, Vikhroli and other areas. The filing of nomination papers for BMC polls begins today. It will continue till the 30th of December.
शिवसेना और महाराष्ट्र नवनिर्माण सेना में बातचीत लगभग खत्म हो गई। अभी एमएनएस के नेता मातोश्री पर भी गए थे। आज सुबह मेरी भी राज साहब से बातचीत हो गई। तो इतना बड़ा अलायंस है, सिर्फ मुंबई का नहीं है, ठाणे है, कल्याण डोंबिवली है, नासिक है, पुणे है, मीरा भाईंदर है और भी जगह पे हो रहा है। तो दोनों के पास कार्यकर्ताओं की संख्या बड़ी है, तो सबको संभाल कर ये अलायंस बनेगा। किसी के ऊपर अन्याय नहीं होना चाहिए, क्योंकि महाराष्ट्र में ये एक ऐतिहासिक अलायंस, हिस्टोरिक अलायंस हो रहा है।
All right, for more on this, we have with us Yasha Kotak. Yasha, thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast. What can you tell us?
Absolutely. In fact, as far as details from Shiv Sena, UBT and MNS are concerned, sources have confirmed that as of now, seat sharing discussion is on between both the Thackerays brothers. Now, this comes in as MBA is also trying to understand as to whether Congress would be on board as a part of the formal alliance partner or not. What's important to note is that Congress, before this, has already announced that they'll be going solo in the BMC elections. But amidst all of this, after the results announcement of the local body Nagar Panchayat elections are concerned, was clearly mentioned by the Shiv Sena UBT leaders that Congress is just a tourist party in the state, and which is where this is something that might have affected the MB alliance. But the fact that both the Thackerays brothers were planning to come together was something that did not go really well with the Congress, saying that it was the ideology that did not really match with them. As a result of which, we also heard from sources that Sanjay Raut spoke to Rahul Gandhi on call to understand and get Congress on board for the alliance. Now here, when we speak of this very alliance, what's particularly coming out of the information that comes in from the MVA camp is that both the Thackerays brothers, they're trying to understand the seat sharing. They're officially yet to announce their alliance for the BMC poll. But of course, a couple of months back, when both Uddhav as well as Raj Thackeray were seen together on stage, it was a very clear indication that this is to show a strong front ahead of BMC elections. But this is something that's not gone really well in the MVA camp, and which is where now efforts are being made to get all the partners together on the same platform along with Raj Thackare, which clearly means to also get Congress on board. NCP is clearly agreeing to be a part of the alliance, but here it's important to get Congress on board for this very alliance. Yes.
All right, Yasha, thank you so much for bringing us the latest on that. Of course, we'll continue to bring our viewers all the developments on that front as well. Now, in another instance, another ally is losing confidence in the grand old party, it seems, amid murmurs of DMK playing hardball during the seat-sharing negotiations ahead of Tamil Nadu Assembly elections. Congress in charge for Tamil Nadu has reiterated that Congress is not merely seeking power, but is preparing to contest elections with a clear strategy and a vision, and has pitched for a situation to do it alone or open doors for negotiations with TVK's Vijay. So that's another big development that we are seeing right now. Clearly, DMK here miffed with the Congress. It appears that alliance partners are increasingly losing trust in the grand old party. Let's just listen to the reactions that have been pouring in as well.
So we will have full-fledged manifesto committee. We will have full-fledged our vision for Tamil Nadu, and our leaders will come to Tamil Nadu and they will announce the various guarantees that what we are doing in the various states just before the elections. And then naturally to fulfill those promises that we are making in the manifesto, to fulfill the vision that we have for Tamil Nadu, and to fulfill those guarantees, naturally we have to be the part of the government.
All right, for more on this, we have Pallavi Ghosh live with us. Pallavi, thank you so much for joining me on the broadcast. Now, of course, another alliance partner here losing trust in the Congress. What's your assessment of how things are playing out for the Congress party?
See, I think the DMK got extremely upset when Rahul Gandhi picked up the phone and he spoke to Vijay, an actor, and also TVK chief. Now, while both the BJP and the Congress party clearly want to hobnob with TVK because, because of the kind of connect he has, his popularity as an actor. But this upset the DMK because the DMK feels that Vijay will cut into their votes. Now, Vijay's appeal lies especially with the youth and the women voters, and that is exactly the vote bank which the DMK is also targeting. So the DMK did convey through their own channels that this is a phone call which could have been avoided. Now, there is a sense, there is a cadre within the Tamil Nadu Congress who feel that this is a time where Congress can afford to take the risk, because being a part of the India bloc has usually compromised on their own identity, and therefore why should we not look at new allies? Why should we not tinker with the idea of probably negotiating with Vijay as well? So there are around 17 MLAs of the Congress party, and the Congress cadre in Tamil Nadu feels that this is a time when we can't afford to take that risk. But this comes in at the cost of the TMK Congress alliance, which still now are standing very strong. There's going to be seat sharing talks which are going to take place, initiated soon. Congress obviously is going to flex its muscles, and the DMK is not going to be keen to address them.
All right, Pallavi, thank you so much for your analysis of that. Also, now with that, we are going to call it a wrap on this edition of the News Bulletin, but don't go anywhere. News and updates will continue on the other side on CNN News 18. Do stay tuned.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
To bring those responsible for Dipu Chandradas's killing to justice. Also, a new video has now emerged showing Dipu in police custody right before he was lynched. Meanwhile, Hindu religious organizations